Welcome to Men Pursuing More. I'm your host, Roger Maupin. I believe every man has the potential to push past his limits and strive for something greater. Whether you're a former athlete who is looking for what's next, a professional pushing through the daily grind, or someone simply ready to break through life's toughest challenges, if you're ready to step into the pursuit of something more, your pursuit begins now. All right, welcome back to Men Pursuing More. I'm your host, Roger Maupin, and I want to welcome back Pat Woodcock back to the podcast, and a client of Pat's and a guest, Eric Deschamps. Our focus is on men's health, recurring episodes every 4 weeks and every Tuesday release at the beginning of each month. So, gentlemen, we're going to get right into it. And Pat, we're going to start with you.
Perfect.
And Pat, would you share your journey? I know you shared it before, but for listeners, what's a core mission behind the Elite Man Method?
Yeah, honestly, Roger, it's the core mission. If I had to sum it up, it's to help men feel more like men again. I think over the years, I've a lot of different clients, and it just found that guys were putting all their effort into business and effort into family. And those are very noble pursuits, but they left themselves behind. And they got to a certain point where business was good, family was good, everything should be good, but they didn't feel good. They didn't look good. They didn't feel good. They didn't have energy. And really what I want to do is help guys to live the healthy and fit lifestyle that allows them to enjoy the fruits of all the things that they work so hard for.
You think of all men want that, especially I know you work with men 40 plus, so.
Yes. Yeah, no, exactly. And I think when you're younger, you can get away with that for a long time, right? And you're even into your 30s, you can get away with not sleeping so much and maybe having some lackadaisical workouts and not paying attention to food. But once you hit 40, those things really start to add up really fast. And so I think that's around the age when guys start to realize I'm doing something wrong here and I need to fix it real quick.
Let's go to you, Eric, and let's start with just share a little bit about your background first, and then we'll get into what drew you to Pat and his approach.
Yeah, so great to be on the show, Roger. Thanks for having me, and I'm so thrilled to be able to be here and just support Coach Pat. He's been a major game changer in my life, especially over the last 6 months. I'm a business coach. I have my own business coaching company. I've had that for a number of years now, work with business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, help them. Like Pat helps them get in shape physically and mentally, and I help them get in shape business-wise and mentally. And I also have a special passion project for men over 40 called The Foundry. And this is for men who in business have left themselves behind and often have neglected very important parts of their lives. Very passionate about both those things, and always been a fitness enthusiast, at least for the last decade or so, but had gotten away from it. Got super busy in business and was telling myself all the BS lies about it's just a season and I'll get back to it. And I had been following Pat online for probably a couple of years. His name had come up in a number of conversations. And so I followed him on IG. And in June, I reached out and we had a couple conversations and have been coaching with him ever since. Down 25 pounds. I'm in the best shape of my life, sleeping well, eating better. My energy levels are incredible, getting stronger every day. And I'll be 55 in March. And I tell you, if this is 55, bring it on.
Oh, look at the guy. Come on, 55. No, I was going to say maybe he must be one of your younger clients, like early 40s.
Early 40s, exactly.
I knew I liked you, Roger.
Eric, tell us about, before working with Pat, what was maybe some of your biggest frustrations or sticking points in your health journey?
It became inconsistency, honestly, until that season about a year and a half ago, where I started to be more neglectful of my health. I was a pretty disciplined guy. I'm the guy that has a gym in his basement and uses it. When COVID hit, I went from working at the local gym, spent a small fortune and built a gym in my house, and was pretty disciplined about its use. But it's like anything in life. It always starts just a little bit of slipping at a time. One missed commitment, one excuse, and before long, you've made months of them. And you keep next weeking, next monthing, next yearing your commitments to yourself. And it took me really just waking up to the fact that I had made a commitment to myself about 3-4 years ago that I'm committed to living long and strong, that people are going to have to drag me out kicking and screaming of this thing called life. And I'm going to squeeze every ounce of it out of this life that I possibly can. But I wasn't living up to that anymore in my health journey. And I knew at that point that the solo approach I had taken to date was not going to work for me anymore. And like I said, it's been a game changer. It's just been 6 months, literally almost to the day, since I started working with Pat, and his program has changed my life.
And Pat, why is this such a common challenge in men 40 plus? You have to tie me into this category too.
Yes.
But why is it so common?
I think it's common because oftentimes, guys, we will put ourselves last, right? Like I said earlier, there's business, there's family, there's obligations, there's responsibilities, and you only have so much time and you only have so much energy in a day. And quite often it becomes, I think, acceptable in our own heads to say, I can just put myself aside, make sure everybody else is taken care of, and I'll deal with whatever's left over. And as Eric was saying, when you do that for too long, eventually you get to a point where there's not enough left over for you anymore. And then it starts to snowball, right? And then you start to feel worse, and then you start to perform worse, and all those things move in the wrong direction. And I just think with guys who are leaders in their family and leaders in their business, it's in our nature to put everybody else first and bring everybody else along. And so it's important for us to all to realize that we can only lead when we're in shape to lead. And that doesn't just mean physically. Like physically, it's a big part of it, obviously, and that's what we're talking about. But emotionally and energy wise and all those things, like you can't lead if you're dragging yourself. So I just try to impress upon guys that you want to do those things for your business and you want to do those things for your family. You got to take care of yourself first so that you actually have the capacity to do those things.
And Pat, I remember you shared that story on the first podcast I had you on about,
Yeah.
You played in the Canadian Football League and you know about fitness and you're training these high level athletes, but along the way, I'm not really taking care of myself.
Yeah, that's it. This was all born out of a personal experience. Like obviously I've been in sports and then in fitness my whole life. But like you said, I was running my gym facility and I was working for a professional football team as their strength coach and just and I had 4 kids and just trying to do all the things. And it got to a point where like literally what I just said, there was nothing that I wasn't doing anything for myself and got into the worst shape of my life. And got to the point where I couldn't do the things that I needed to do for my family, for the business, for everything that I needed to do on a day-to-day basis. This program was born out of me figuring out what worked best and then being able to take that to my clients and say, here we go. Now we have a formula to follow to get back to where we want to be again.
Pat, you're talking about a formula because a lot of men feel overwhelmed when they get started. And then if you could strip it down to maybe what would be first one type of step that they could start, what would that be?
It's really tough to pull it down to one, if I'm being honest, Roger.
Just
if I
one.
had to say one, I would say just move every day. Move your body every day in some capacity. And that's obviously very low-hanging fruit, but sometimes that's what you need. And you get a couple quick wins and you feel good. You do it for 2 weeks, you do it for 3 weeks, you feel good about it, you build some momentum, and then maybe you can add the next step. But honestly, move your body in some capacity each and every day. We're just not made, and especially those of us who work a lot, we're not made to sit at the computer all day long. We are not made to just stand in meetings all day long or whatever the case is. You've got to move your body. You got to challenge your muscles. You got to breathe heavy. You got to get your blood pumping. Those things are what keep us alive and keep us young. And then as you get further along, you can tie in nutrition and sleep and all those things, but you got to move your body first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's even hard to get to that point. You got to move. You got to get off that couch.
100%.
Get outside maybe and walk around. You're done with this
It's
podcast.
counterintuitive. Guys will say, oh, I don't have the energy for that. I'm just too tired. But doing that will give you the energy that you're missing, right? Doing that will start to revive you and perk you back up again and get you back to where you're supposed to be.
Eric, what was your actual first step when you joined the program? I know it's not just a one step. Okay, this is your first step, but what was like some of the first things you did when you joined the program?
The big one for me was there is a lot more to the program than just movement. Movement's a big part of it. Nutrition is huge. You can't out-train a bad diet. So it doesn't matter how hard you hit the gym or how much you move. If you're putting garbage in, that's what you're going to get out, right? But for me, it really started with getting my workouts on point. And during the summer for me, we lived between a cottage and our house. And so making sure that I had what I needed so I could be disciplined and follow through regardless of where I was at that time. So I spent those first few weeks really nailing down the workouts, getting the gear that I needed, transferred some of the gear from my gym here at home over to the cottage. So now I had, wherever I was, I had what I needed to do what I needed. And then the nutrition followed. And I was already getting results before I got my nutrition on point. I dialed some things back, but I wasn't following it as closely as I am now. And as soon as I turned the nutrition piece on, one, again, I can't tell you the difference in my energy levels. You were just referring to it, Pat. We tell ourselves, oh, I don't have time. The business needs me right now. I got to give my energy to the business. And I'm like, so now I am working out almost every single day. There's some aspect of movement in my life. My meal planning's on point, and I have more energy. I actually, with less time, am getting more done at work because my energy, my focus, my attention is so much sharper than it ever was. I am not fading at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and fuzzing my way through the last couple of hours. I have energy and focus to carry right through the day, and yet I'm actually spending less time at my desk. I'm spending more time in the gym and on the treadmill, but it's so for me, it was definitely the exercise components, really getting back to that because that was my foundation. And then it was layering in the other stuff that Pat brings to the table, which is so powerful.
That kind of ties into what I was going to ask next. You answer that, but what surprised you the most when you began training under the Elite Man method? And you kind of talked about your energy and like how you felt at about 3 p.m. And you want to add anything else to that?
I'd say that what surprised me the most about the workouts is it's not like a 3-hour workout. It's 40 minutes,
Yes.
45 minutes of focused movement, pushing heavy weights and getting your heart rate up and the stretching and the prep work. But I expected them to be longer. And I remember because I was like, if you don't work out for an hour, you haven't worked out kind of guy. That was the mentality that I had. And then actually started to work against me because I thought, if I can't work out for a full hour, then what's the point? And then I would miss, and then I would skip, and then I wouldn't do it. And what I love about Pat's methodology is, one, the workouts are short and tight. So even busy business leaders like me can do it. If you can't find 45 minutes, you got other issues. Okay. Like we need to talk about. But the point is, it's also the notion of, if you miss it, just get back on the horse. If you miss a day, just get back to it. Like now I'm really proud to say I've not missed one workout in 6 months. And again, a big part of that is I know he's checking the app. I know he's looking at my results, and I don't want him reaching out and say, hey, what happened Thursday?
This would be a great time to pull up the app right now. Here it is, right here. We caught you.
Yeah, I certainly made sure I had today's workouts in early.
Yeah. Saw that one.
Just in case.
Yeah, get a little surprise for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate you sharing that. That's because a lot of men feel wow, I'm going to start something. It's going to take me hours. How am I going to have the time? I'm going to have to do this at least 3 or 4 times a week. How am I going to have the time with my busy schedule? So I appreciate you sharing that and sharing that with the audience.
I think a lot of guys feel that way, Roger, and it comes down to, number one, they feel like workouts should take long, or they do take long, number one, because they don't necessarily know what they should do. So they walk in and they're like, okay, what should I do today? And then maybe I do this. Well, I didn't really feel anything with that, so I'll do a little bit more and do this and that. And they don't have a methodology to follow, and they don't have something that, I think when you know that something has results tied to it, you can trust it a little bit more. When you go in and you're just making up a workout, you don't know what's going to happen with that, what kind of results you're going to get. So you feel like, I got to do more to make sure I get some kind of result. But I think when you have a proven methodology that shows results consistently guys get results on a consistent basis, you can say, okay, I can trust the fact that this workout's only going to take me 40 minutes or 45 minutes, and I'm still going to get the result that I'm looking for. And I think that takes a big weight off of guys' minds in terms of saying, the common type A personality, I just got to do more, got to do more, got to do more, got to do more. That's not the case with fitness at this point.
No.
Right? And more is often counterproductive to what we're trying to get done here.
And I'll tell you, logging into the app and just the workouts there, I don't have to think. I just have to show up and it's right there for me. Everything I need to do is spelled out and even illustrated if I don't know the move. He's made it so easy And add to that again, the community he's built around it and the accountability. When I see other guys check it and they finish their workouts, every now and then I'll throw like an emoji on there to celebrate their win. You just feel like you're part of something, but it's how organized it is for me. I don't have to think about it. I just show up and work out, literally just show up and do my thing with his guidance, knowing that with all his experience, like you talk about trust, the shit works. It just works. It just works.
That kind of ties into, there's a lot of programs out there, and that kind of ties in the next question I want to ask. That, hey, just download this app and go to work, okay, to get the workout done. Okay, we have it all right here in the app. And this is where it ties into why is coaching, let's go with you, Pat, why is coaching such a critical piece for men over 40?
Yeah, because I think it's hard for guys to separate where they are now with maybe where they used to be. And this has been a challenge for me too, right? I come from a professional sports background. So I used to be able to do some pretty cool things physically. I can't necessarily do those things anymore. So for guys who haven't spent as much time in the study and in the experience of fitness, they think those 25-year-old workouts are still going to be productive in their 40s. And the fact is they're just not, right? They're going to do, it's going to be too much volume, too much intensity. You're not going to recover enough. You've got too many other things going on. And it just 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be the right workout for you to do at this point. So to just go on YouTube or whatever it is and find a workout, chances are you're going to pick a workout from a guy who looks pretty jacked and is probably pretty young. It just, some of those guys, right, their only job is to work out. They don't necessarily have families. They don't run business. They don't do all the things that you do. And so for you to think, I'm going to follow that program doesn't make a lot of sense. And the coaching aspect, obviously there's the science of the workout, and that goes into the app and the sets and reps and all those things. But then the art of the workout, the art of the coaching is, hey, let's figure out what exercises are best for you. Let's figure out what volume and frequency is going to be best for you. Oh, you have 4 kids and you run 2 businesses. Okay, so let's figure out how much rest we need to build into your week to make sure that you're recovering from these workouts and not going to be burnt out in 2 weeks. So I think the key is having somebody who can look at it from the overhead view and say, this is a great workout. Not all pieces of it are going to work for you because you have this and this going on in your life. Oh, you have an injury we need to look at. Okay, let's take this exercise out completely. Let's put this one in instead. The coaching comes in terms of the customization for you as an individual. We all know, everybody knows, everybody listening knows, you can download 1,000 workouts in the next 20 minutes. But number one, are you going to do any of them? Number two, are they the right workout for you? And it's not an insult in any way, but do you even know what kind of workout is going to give you the result that you're looking for? And it's not your area of expertise. This is why I call plumbers and I call electricians, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to plumbing and electricity. I call experts who spend their whole life studying that stuff and have experience dealing with that stuff. And that's where the coaching comes in. I know how to flip the light switch. Okay, you know how to open the gym door. That's good. Let me take care of the workout and tell you exactly what you need to do and how you need to eat to support it.
So that's a key takeaway right there, Pat. We could just stop the podcast right now, send it out. Okay, all listeners, you need to listen to this and you need to contact Pat. Or if you want to contact one of his clients, you contact Eric or just contact me because, hey, we're done. Okay, we've heard enough. But that customization is so key. And Eric, share with us about how did accountability, you talked about accountability, and you're a business coach. Coaching will really change your outcome because Pat just talked about I'm going to customize it for you.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember early on in the process, I was pushing myself too hard. I was taking the workouts that he was giving me and I was hitting it, especially lower body, and I ended up injuring my hamstring. And I reached out to him same day and he got back to me and we just modified. And within just a few weeks, that was fine. I was good and I was back to full strength. And if I'd hurt myself on my own, I probably would have taken me longer to get back to it. I might have been discouraged and but having that support, having that expertise available to you. I know on the nutrition side, it's been like so helpful to say, hey, what should I be aiming for? And when I'm thinking about the amount of protein I should be eating versus fat versus carbs, if I want to keep losing weight, if I want to be adding that lean muscle mass, And I'll tell you, as we get older, that shit really matters because it's we can get stronger as we get older. It doesn't have to be the other way around, but you got to know what you're doing. And again, another surprise for me was, what do you mean we're not doing arm day? Or we're not doing like chest day? That's all I know, because I started working out as a teenager, watching Rocky Balboa, right? And that's where I grew, and that's how you worked out. So I took that same mentality into my 40s and 50s, realizing my body's changed. Now I feel stronger than ever now, but before I started working out, like, I had this mentality about what it should look like. And I think, again, with social media, and I see it in business all the time, Roger, like, people can find business answers just about anywhere. But the problem is, where do you start, and what can you trust, and what's got a proven methodology behind it? You want to find someone who's got proven results. They've demonstrated they can get results for people time and time again, and that can help be your guide. You still have to do the work. Pat doesn't do my workouts. Right? I have to show up and do the work, but I do it with his guidance and his support. And having followed him online, I saw the results that the guys were getting that were working with him. And so when it came to hiring a coach, like, he's the first person I called, and he's the only person I called. One, because I was already sold on his approach. I just needed to understand it better, because obviously I was following it loosely from a social media perspective. And when he shared with me, I was like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it. And we just came to the end of our 6 months, and I just signing up for another year. I'm not done. This is too important to me at this stage of my life. There's too much living left to do. And I want to do it from a place of strength, not from a place of limping into my later years, right? I want to be that kick-ass guy who's 75 years old and people are like, look how jacked he is.
Definitely.
You're saying that, let's see, I'm training my kids. So by training my kids, I'm ready to train 40 plus age men, right? I'm ready to throw it out there on the YouTube.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're good to go.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to follow me. It's like, we want that guy.
In fact, all you have to do is work out yourself. Then you're fit to coach anybody.
You're qualified. Right?
You're qualified.
Just
whatever,
like that,
whatever age.
Yeah.
All right, Pat, let's head to metabolism. Talk to us about like metabolism and muscle metabolism. As men age, in simple terms, why do things kind of feel slower, or what actually improves it?
Sure. Yeah. So the common thought is, as we're going to get older, everything's just going to slow down, right? Everything feels a little bit worse. And there is an element to truth of that. Obviously, things are going to slow down a little bit as we get older, but the majority of what we see is caused by the change in the way we live our life. We keep talking about being in our 20s, and you're pretty active, right? You run around, you don't have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of stress. You're social, go to the gym, you play sports, whatever the case may be. And then you get married, you have kids, you get into your 30s, you're running a business, you're doing these things, and all of that slows down. You start sitting down all day long. You start staying up too late because you've worked all day and now you just want to sit on the couch. You start having a couple drinks every night because you're stressed out from everything that's going on. You have stress, more stress than you've ever had anywhere in your life. And all those things contribute to a decrease in testosterone, a decrease in growth hormone, an increase in cortisol and the stress hormones. And all of those things cause fat gain, muscle loss. When you lose muscle and gain fat, your metabolism slows down. Generally, we start to eat worse too, right? A lot of guys skip breakfast. They don't eat enough protein. They don't even eat enough, period. We don't drink water. Like, all those things contribute to the stuff that we associate with old age. Okay. Old age, yes, you are going to show a decrease in all of these things, but it's magnified 10, 20, 1,000 times by the way we're living our life. So if you can continue to move your body and eat protein and go to bed at night and not drink alcohol every day and have a way to deal with the stress that you are going to have in your life, that gets to move some of those things back in your favor. That brings testosterone back up. That brings stress back down. Those things contribute to and play a big part in fat loss, muscle gain, energy, focus, overall happiness with life. Those things are all the lifestyle factors that contribute to what we see as aging.
It's interesting to say fat loss, because a lot of people want to word it as weight management loss or something, but it's, hey, you got to lose some.
Yeah, lots of guys say, I need to lose weight. And I said, no, you probably don't need to lose weight. You need to lose fat. There's a study, and I can't remember the exact details, but longevity, people who have more muscle mass live longer than people who don't. And we're not talking about bodybuilder muscle mass. We're just talking about more than the average human. And it's because as we get older, you need to have balance and you need to have coordination and all those things. When you lose too much muscle and when you're not active and you're not strong, you lose that stuff and then you fall down and then you break hips. And when those things happen, you die really fast. And preventing that, if you're not already doing it, needs to start now. Like you can't wait until you're 65 and 70 and be like, oh, I'm losing too much muscle mass. I need to start getting back in shape again, or I'm going to fall and break my hip. No, you got to start now. You got to start in your 40s and 50s because it's just going to get harder and harder the older that we go.
Okay, all you listeners out there, do you hear that? It's time to start now. When you hear this, pick up the phone, okay? Or if not, pick up the phone, email Pat, and let's start now.
I talked a little bit earlier too about how we put others first and put ourselves second. So if that's your mindset, cool. Put your family first. Don't be the man that needs to be taken care of by their kids and by their wife when they get older. Be the man that's still active and that can still take care of the people around him, not the guy who's on a walker or that needs his family to carry him around or do things for him because he hasn't done anything physically in 30 years. If you want to put other people first, do it that way. Make sure that you can take care of yourself and take care of them as you get into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond.
That's so good.
Yeah, I think so many men have lost that warrior edge. There is something about warrior throughout history, and now we think it's keyboard warrior, but keyboard warrior is killing us. But this sense of being healthy, being strong, like I have, my oldest is 30, my second daughter is 25. They're going to be having children for the first, I'll become a granddad probably in the next, I say 2 to 4 years. I don't know. I'm not predicting. That's up to them, and I'm not putting any pressure on them. But I want to be the granddad that at 65, 70 years old is out there running with his grandkids and picking them up and wrestling with them on the ground. I don't want to be that guy sitting there frail on the sidelines because I just neglected to take care of myself. And to Pat's point about putting yourself first, I come from a background where that was considered sinful, right? Selfish. And yet I've come to realize in my older years that putting yourself first when it comes to your health and your vitality is the least selfish thing you can do because you show up stronger and better in every role, in every relationship. You show up not half a man, you show up like the full man that you are because you made sure that your tank is full, your body is strong, your heart is clean, your mind is clear, your spirit's connected. Man, when you show up like that, these are the kinds of people that do some pretty cool shit in life and shift things. So the physical body is what carries all this. We only have one.
That's it.
We don't get to can I trade up? No, you can't trade up. All you can do is train up, but you can't trade up.
Oh, I like that one. I'm going to have to steal that one.
It's all yours. It's all yours.
Let's hear that one more time.
You can't trade up, but you can train up.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, what was kind of the biggest mental shift you personally had to make to stay consistent in this process? And I think a number of listeners who want to know, hey, you're a business coach. You know what it takes. Okay, you coach others. So how did you get away from that when you're a business coach and now you have to be coached? Because a lot of times we're like a coach. We know how to coach others, but are we willing to have others coach us?
So the best coaches have a coach. Fundamentally believe that. And I've had coaches in other areas of my life forever. And I knew, that's why when I knew I reached that point where enough is enough, my excuses are stacking up and my efforts just aren't matching the excuses, I need to call in some extra help here. For me, that wasn't a big shift because it's been a fundamental part of my life in other arenas. And I'd had employed the services of a fitness coach years ago to help me kickstart my health journey, where after kids and all that, I'd put on a lot of weight and I was in the worst shape of my life. And so I knew, I was like, if I'm serious about making some changes, if I could do it on my own, I would have done it already. Right? Given what I know, given what I have, given the experience that I have, it wasn't a lack of knowledge. It wasn't a lack of equipment. It wasn't a lack of desire. What I needed was some structure. What I needed was some accountability. What I needed was something personalized to me that took into account like the stage of life that I'm in, because I recognized that a lot of my thinking around this was 10 years, 20 years old. And this is where working with a professional makes such a difference. You referred to it earlier, Pat, the workout you saw in high school or that you pulled off YouTube. Yeah, okay, it might work for somebody, but
Yes.
again, are they customizing that to your specific situation? And for those of you that are thinking about getting back into shape or you've tried it, like you're likely approaching it with really old thinking and old mindsets around it. And again, I was going into this, and my biggest shock, I already mentioned it. What do you mean we're not doing arm day? Because I was so used to that's how you do it, right? And all of a sudden, I rediscovered leg day, number one, but I came to recognize that through Pat's help, like at my age, those really focused body workouts, unless I want to be a bodybuilder, they're actually not that effective for overall health. And full body workouts, or at least upper body, lower body focused workouts, much more effective. I've watched my metabolism increase. My VO2 max alone has gone up by at least 5 points in the last 4 months. That's your cardio recovery, because he's got me moving a lot. I added a lot of walking. Walking is part of it. And I've rediscovered the love of walking. And I've said this to every single person. I said, if you've got a dog and you're walking the dog, try picking up the pace. It's all you need to do. If you're out there walking the dog, rather than just like casually stroll, aim for that 3.5 miles per hour, aim for 4 miles per hour. It's actually not that fast, but I'll tell you, your heart rate will come up. You'll start to sweat. You'll feel that, and that's going to make a difference too, right? So it's again, when you're working with someone who really knows what they're doing, you mix that with your commitment and your decision, you got a winning formula. But usually just the decision alone is not enough. That's why New Year's resolutions don't work, right? You've got to put the support systems in place to get the results you want. Just wanting it and wishing it just leaves you frustrated and disappointed.
And Eric, you mentioned something about coaches. Even if you're an expert in an area, you still need a coach. A lot of them say,
Yep.
hey, I've reached a peak. I have all the answers. None of us have all the answers. We all need coaches. I need coaches for podcasting, coaches for all areas as a business coach. So we understand that some people don't have any coaches.
Yeah.
So they're not even sure what direction. That kind of ties into you, Pat. There's so many men 40 plus, and I've talked to a number of them, just this mind shift. And men who finally make kind of long-term progress, but a lot of men are just stuck because they've never allowed someone actually to coach them.
Yeah, I think there's an ego thing involved with it for a lot of us. And it's even worse if you were active and an athlete and stuff when you were young. No, I know how to do this. I did this my whole life, but I don't write my own programs. I have a coach that writes my workout programs for a lot of different reasons. Number one, there's an accountability factor to it. Number two, like you have built-in biases, right? Oh, I really like that exercise, so I'm going to do that exercise all the time. When somebody else takes a look at things, maybe that's not the exercise I need right now. Maybe I need something else. Maybe I did that exercise and I really liked it when I was just training for overall health, but now I want to compete in track and field, so I need to do something different over here. There's a lot of different reasons why guys don't want to take a coach. I think ego is the biggest one. I think we talked earlier about the feeling of it's a selfish thing to do. So, well, now I'm going to pay somebody to be my coach. That money could go to my kids, or that money could go to my wife, or that money could go to this or that. And so there's all those different reasons why guys, or I'll say excuses, why guys will choose not to accept a coach. But you will say, you're a business coach. Eric, you're a business coach. I've had business coaches. I have fitness coaches. We know the return on investment is worth so much more than what you have to put in. And that's from a time perspective. That's from a financial perspective. That's from an effort perspective, all those things. The investment that you make, the return you're going to get on that is so much more valuable when it's a focused blueprint for you to follow that's designed specifically for you to get the result that you want. It's not a random business program that you follow and just tick off boxes as you go along. It's not a random workout program. It's not fasting for 12 hours a day. It's something that's designed for you, for what you say you want to achieve. And so I think guys need to get out of their heads a little bit and realize that, like we said already, the best guys in the world all have coaches. The
Yeah.
best businessmen have their own coach. The best athletes have coach. You think Roger Federer didn't know how to play tennis? He was the best player in the world. He still had a coach. And you can say that for every sport. It's a matter of being able to get out of your own head and say, I can continue to do things the way I've been doing them and feel okay about myself because I haven't asked anybody for help. Or I can decide that I really want to move to the next level. I really want to realize just how good I can be in all areas of my life and find somebody, what he's done exactly what I want to do. He's helped other men do exactly what I want to do. Maybe I should have a talk with him and see what he has to say.
What's
Yeah, I
interesting.
love that, Pat. Sorry, I would just add one thing.
Yeah.
I think there's this myth that people have, or this fallacy they have in their heads, that coaching is for the weak.
Yes.
Coaching is not for the weak. Coaching is for the serious. Anybody who wants to take their game to the next level gets a coach. And it's not because they're weak. They're usually already at the top of their game, but they're looking for just that much more. Now, you may not feel like you're like in the top of your game physically right now, all the more reason, right? Get a coach, get someone who can support you. If you're serious about making changes, if you could have done it on your own, you would have done it already. Right?
You know, it's interesting how, with all the listeners, about how important it is to invest in your health. And we were talking about coaching, and I just had a guy on the podcast, and he wrote a book. It's Communism to Capitalism. Came from Eastern Bloc country, got freed, came to Canada, and he was just determined that he was going to make things happen. He was going to find coaches, and he was a millionaire before he was 30. He wanted to see what he could do to support his family, just a challenge in life that they'd had for a number of years. And I asked him, I says, how much money have you spent in coaching? It's not like a guy that doesn't have a lot of money is going to spend this much money. Maybe he'll spend a few $1,000s, maybe in business coaching or health coaching or more. He estimated it was like $425,000 in coaching. And he just talked about the importance of coaching. Roger, you don't realize how important that is.
Yeah.
And that's one thing people step aside. I'm just going to find it online, or I'm just going to minimize things. No, you need to, like you talked about, Eric, but you need to maximize.
There's all these
guys will even say,
go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say, sorry. I was just going to say, guys will say, I can't afford it. And I would say, bullshit. Pardon the French, but I call bullshit on that. You can afford the case of 2-4, right? You can afford skip the dishes. You can afford, that McDonald's meal again that you've had probably for the third time this week. It's amazing what we will make excuses for, but when we get right down to it, it's just that. It's just an excuse. You can afford that trip to the liquor store, right? It's all these things you can afford, but you can't afford to get help to get your health journey back on track. The money's already chances right there. You just need to reprioritize where you're spending it, or at least some of it.
Pat, go ahead.
No, I think all the stuff that we've talked about for sure, but there's also element of coaches are going to, when you don't have a coach, right? You haven't had a coach probably for a long time if you played sports, or even you haven't had a teacher of any kind since you left school. So maybe you're the head of your household, maybe you're the head of your business. You call the shots on a day-to-day basis. So there's nobody who's there to hold you accountable to the decisions you make. There's nobody who's there to call you out on the bullshit excuses that you're going to make. I'll work out tomorrow. This pizza is okay. I'll make up it next week. When you don't have anybody to answer to or be accountable to, it's really easy for us to justify all the things that we like to do instead of what we should do. And so that's half the battle of coaching, right? There's obviously, like we talked about, there's science, there's system, there's procedure to follow. But the other half is, listen, I've heard all the excuses. I've made all the excuses myself. I'm going to call you out on them when you throw them back at me, right? There's no reason why you couldn't work out today. And you didn't work out today? Cool. Make it up tomorrow. There's no reason why you couldn't have prepped your food on the weekend. You watched football for 7 hours. You could have had the TV on while you were cooking your chicken and while you were cooking your ground beef. There's zero reason why that couldn't have been done. So, there's men who choose for whatever reason, ego, we talked about all those things, but they also need to understand that the coach is going to hold you accountable and he's going to keep you on track. Half the battle with this is being consistent and staying on track and being accountable to somebody. Because we talked earlier, it's too easy to miss one workout or miss one meal or go on one vacation and then come back and not pick up where you left off. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
But the key is you're going to miss workouts. You have other responsibilities. You're going to have weeks where you're off track, but somebody's going to be there to say, hey, I know you had a bad week last week. Not what we wanted, but it's okay. It's Monday. Let's start over. Let's go. Pick it back up and let's get back on track again.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So tied into that, Pat, you emphasize a lot. We've had you on the podcast a number of times about recovery, rest, and daily habits, about the training. What's most overlooked habit?
Oh, sleep, without question. Yeah, sleep without question. I think, again, you get into that habit of, hey, I'm a high performer, so I got to burn the midnight oil. I got to stay up late. I got to get up early. I got to make like sleep is for the weak. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I got to work. I got to do this. I got to take that meeting. I got to take that phone call. I got to read that email. Whatever it is, I got to work. I got to work. And guys don't go to bed, or they work to a certain point, and then it's, whew, now I'm so stressed out, and now I need to sit and watch Netflix for 2 hours before I go to bed to calm down and relax again. That's not good. You can't skip out on sleep. I could give you the Elite Man Method workout. I could give you the best workout. I could give you the best nutrition. If you don't sleep, you will not get the results that you want. It doesn't matter what program you're on. It doesn't matter what food you eat. You must sleep, especially as we're getting older, because the biggest thing that happens when we sleep, obviously we're going to recover. The muscles recover, your brain recovers, but that's when the hormones can go to work and do the work that we're asking them to do. And so a big part of what we're doing as men over 40 is we're trying to train and eat and live in such a way that we can keep testosterone levels high, we can keep growth hormone levels high, we can keep stress levels low. And that only happens when you sleep. Doesn't matter how hard you work out, doesn't matter how much protein you eat. Those things happen when you sleep. They don't happen during the day. So you must sleep. If you're only getting 5 hours of sleep, you are leaving so much on the table that it's almost not worth going to work out. Guys will say, listen, I'm going to be up late. There's nothing I can do about it. Should I still get up early and go get my workout in, or should I get those extra 2 hours of sleep? You should get the sleep. You should get the sleep. Here's the coach telling you to skip your workout and get the extra sleep, because it's that important to all the things that we're talking about. It doesn't matter what you do. If you are only sleeping 5 hours, 5.5 hours, you are not going to get the results, and you are not going to be healthy. Sleep is the great equalizer when it comes to fitness, health, longevity, like all those things. You cannot operate on too little sleep.
And Pat, it's kind of interesting you say that, because I hear a lot of people talk about 40 plus, talk about sleep, but I think the key thing you talked about was the hormones. You can get all the sleep, but it's just going to mess things up.
100%. Yeah.
You're not going to get the results. You did all this work throughout the day, great, but you're on your cell phone for 2 hours at night. It's like, well, scroll through it, or watch it on the big screen. Then you think you're going to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Having a bowl of cereal at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I think consistently gets overlooked, and guys minimize it and think it's not important, and I'll sleep on the weekend or whatever it is. But it's a crucial part of what we're talking about here.
Eric, how about for you? Which one was like maybe the toughest for you to implement, and which one you felt made the biggest difference?
Let me start with biggest difference. Definitely the nutrition. Like I heard this years ago, and I incorporated it even on the business side, where you can't out train a bad diet and you can't out hustle bad business practices, right? Those two things are the same. So definitely the nutrition was where I saw things really begin. The results really started to accelerate much faster. And for me, I don't know if it's been the hardest, but it's been the trickiest for me, although it's a tremendous progress, is the sleep. I'm one of those guys that just doesn't need a lot. Like I am the 6 hour a night guy who can probably live off that and be fine. But I'm finding, because I'm exercising more and because I'm eating better, I'm sleeping longer and I'm sleeping better. So that's also begun to shift, but it's been a little slower than some of the others. Yeah.
Did you see the difference of, remember you talked about earlier in the podcast about 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. You just felt you still had that energy at that time of the day.
Yeah, 100%. The only time that started to fade is I wasn't eating enough. And that's
Yes.
again the power of having a coach. I reached out to Pat and said, "Hey man, like everything's going well, but I'm finding myself like the afternoons are hard." And so he was able to adjust my macros and get me saying, "Okay, you need to eat more of that, eat more of this." And all of a sudden that settled it, that fixed it. So again, none of these things can be taken in isolation. The three elements of the movement and the right movement for your age and stage, the nutrition piece, which is absolutely critical, and the rest and recovery. Those things are like they live together. They're like the Trinity.
Yeah. 100%.
And then I just kind of want to focus on this one for just a few minutes. And Pat, I want to start with you about a lot of times we talk about, hey, getting your cardio in, getting your sleep, but share with us the importance of weight training. Because men or women, or let's talk about men, get up to a certain age, I can't lift weights anymore. I can't do that weight training. I'll just do some cardio. And
Yeah.
why is it important for men in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, regards to weight training?
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about maintaining muscle mass as a means of longevity and not being fragile as we get older and being able to move and being coordinated and all those things. And that comes with strength, that comes with maintaining some lean muscle mass, and that comes only from weight training, right? You can run all you want and have a super healthy heart, but if you're not doing anything upper body, and if you're only running, you're not doing any resistance training, that strength is not going to translate as you get older. And then the other thing is the weight training is what is going to help provide that hormonal stimulus when you sleep. So you're going to weight train when you lift heavy weights, when you train with some pace around the gym, and you're not sitting for 3 minutes in between sets. That creates the hormone response that can then be elicited when you sleep. So if you do not do a workout and you go to bed, you'll get some of the hormone release, but it won't be as strong as when the body's trying to recover from a workout. So basically you do all that training, you stress the body, you train the body, and then when you go to sleep is when you recover, and the hormones produce to help you recover and overcome the workout and prepare you to train again the next day or do whatever it is you're supposed to do the next day. When you talk about the testosterone, the growth hormone, keeping cortisol down, those things all are magnified by adding a proper weight training routine to your schedule as opposed to a cardio only or a fitness class or something like that to work out.
How about you, Eric? What kind of impact did weight training? Maybe you were doing some weight training before you met with Pat, but what was the impact on you?
Again, so weight training's been part of my journey for a long time. I was just following really old thinking around it because of just the way that I had been exposed to it before. But definitely that combination of there's not a lot, like the regular walking has also been, again, a really important piece of it because that's low intensity stuff. But most people, again, movement's important. Anything's better than nothing. Like you're better to get off the couch and do some movement than do none. But for everything, Pat explained it far better than I ever could. You got to move some weight. And what I would say is you don't have to be like worry about moving lots of heavy weight either. I see people at the gym all the time doing the ego lifting thing. And I'm like, actually, if you went with a fraction of what you're trying to move, but actually did it properly, you would get probably 10 to 12 times the benefit of what you're getting from just trying to ego lift all this heavy weight. It's not so much about the amount of weight, it's that resistance, it's that pushing your body. And as a result, you're going to get results. That's certainly been the case for me.
This has been amazing, man. I'm going to get to the final question for both of you. And Eric, we're going to start with you. What is the best health advice that you've ever received? And then who gave it to you and why was it kind of game changers? Just to wrap up, what is just some health advice that's been just impactful for you?
The best recent advice was hire Pat.
There it is, 6 months ago.
6 months ago, yeah. I think the best health advice I've gotten has been in the last 6 months, honestly. I had some good habits before, but they were anchored, like I said, in just outdated thinking. And to be able to really update my knowledge, update my approach with someone who really knows what they're doing. And I said at the top of the show, I'll say it again, I have never felt so strong. I've never felt so healthy. I'm in the best shape of my life at 55. And my best advice is get help. Like, again, get someone in your life that can help you. And if you're a successful guy over 40, Pat's your guy. Pure and simple.
I was going to ask you about advice and you just gave it.
Yeah.
Contact Pat. All right, Pat, let's go to you. What kind of advice would you give to men? There's a lot of men out there listening and say, gosh, I just got to get started. I got to do something.
Yeah.
I'm 52 years old. I'm 63 years old. I'm whatever age. I'm over 40 and I need to get started. What advice would you give to these men listening on this podcast?
Yeah, I think like we talked earlier, I think just start moving every day. Move your body in some capacity with intention, right? Start doing everything with intention. So I'm not just walking the dog. I'm walking with intention. The dog's coming along with me, right? I'm actually going for a walk and the dog's coming along instead of letting him dictate necessarily. Eat with intention. Pay attention to what you're putting in your mouth. Don't just blindly eat whatever happens to be around. Do things with intention. Go to bed with intention. Like I think living your life with intention is probably the biggest thing you can do, not just from a from a fitness point of view, but from a business point of view, from a relationship point of view, from an overall happiness point of view. Stop floating around just doing whatever happens on a particular day. Stop spending your time scrolling or watching what other people are doing with their life. Be intentional with everything that you do. And if you have a goal of looking better and feeling better and having more energy, then you need to live with the intention that's going to move you closer towards that goal, whatever that's going to look like for you. We talked earlier about just move your body first and foremost, move every day. If that's your first intentional motion, perfect. Do it. And then when you're comfortable with that and it's part of your habit and your daily discipline, then find the next habit that you can create or have somebody help you do that. But whatever you're going to do, it with intention. Figure out what you want in your life, figure out how you get there, and then act accordingly. It's not complicated. This is not stuff that we don't already know, but sometimes I guess maybe hearing it put that way can be a jarring thing for guys. Stop just floating through your life. You want to get in better shape? It's out there. You know what's available to you, so act accordingly.
Love that.
Said, and I like that word, intentionality.
Yeah.
Be intentional about your health.
About everything.
Yeah. And Eric, I know you mentioned this too about, hey, you only get one shot. Not like you get a rerun. You gotta do it over again later.
Yeah.
Get one shot. Let's get her done, man. Hey, man, Pat and Eric, I want to thank you for your willingness to share. And let's start with you, Eric. Where can listeners find you and follow your story?
They can find me at rhapsodystrategies.com. That's Bohemian Rhapsody, the great Queen song, rhapsodystrategies.com. That's where they can find everything business coaching, business training that we do. And we have a podcast of our own called Living Richly. You can find us at livingrichley.me, livingrichley.me.
And can you say your first and last name again for all these listeners?
It's Eric Deschamps.
Deschamps. All right. Love it. Okay, Pat, how about you?
Yeah, so the website is theelitemanmethod.com. So that gives you a little bit of background on the program itself. In terms of me personally, on Instagram, I am at Elite Coach. And then on Facebook and LinkedIn, it's just my name, Pat Woodcock. And I'm pretty active on all three of those.
All right, that's a wrap. And this focus on men's health. And I want to thank both of you for being a part of Men Pursuing More podcast.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to Men Pursuing More podcast. Don't forget to follow us at maupincoaching.com.